The recently released trailer for The Bad Batch gives us a glimpse at who one of the villains of the show will be. But will Tarkin be the main enemy of Clone Force 99? Will he be a newly minted Sith Lord with breathing issues? Or is it someone else? Someone a little more intimately familiar with our heroes? In all honesty, Tarkin, and to a lesser extent Vader, will probably be pulling the strings behind the scenes. However, I think it will be none other than Crosshair leading the squad who will try to eliminate his fellow mutated clones. I will be covering everything Bad Batch once the show launches on May the 4th, and we'll have many theories leading up to the premiere. So make sure to subscribe and wreck that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything Bad Batch. I'll first talk about why I think Crosshair is going to be a villain in the series, then move on to the more important question of what him turning on his brothers would do for the show. First, it is pretty obvious that Crosshair is only in the beginning of the trailer. Though this could have been done purposely to throw us off, I don't think it was Filoni's intention here. I've also heard a lot of people say that the armor for the leader of the elite troopers hunting the Bad Batch looks a lot like Crosshair's. Additionally, I think that Crosshair's personality fits the bill. In the Clone Wars Season 7, it was obvious that he gets annoyed by a lot of his brother's antics, and is not too fond of Wrecker overall. I can't really blame him on that last one. If I had to be bunkmates with Wrecker, I might also start looking for a new set of friends to play with. He also seems to be more logical, meaning he might make the calculation that joining the Empire is his best option. Overall, there's plenty of reason to believe that not only could Crosshair make the transition from Republic clone to Empirical pawn, but that he will. Now, on to what that could mean for the story. I think that having one of their own turn on them will set a tone right away that the story will have much more depth than many expected. In some ways, the Bad Batch seems silly and lighthearted in the Clone Wars. In their own story, there will be consequences and the stakes will be high. The 4 remaining members of Clone Force 99 will not only be running for their lives, but will also have to deal with the emotional fallout of knowing that someone close to them betrayed them. Speaking of Crosshair being a traitor, the reason why he does it is also kind of important. If it turns out that the Bad Batch either doesn't have inhibitor chips, including Echo, who could have lost his while he was hooked up to those machines we saw in Clone Wars Season 7, or that the chips weren't working properly, then the reason Tarkin comes after them is because they didn't execute Order 66. Maybe Crosshair attempted to execute the order, based solely on orders and not due to the chip. The other members of the squad might refuse to turn on a Jedi, and it causes a division amongst them. Once they return to Kamino, Tarkin attempts to test them to see if they could be made to be compliant. He realizes Crosshair is the only one he could trust, then tests him by tasking him with the execution of his brothers. That could be a gut-wrenching scene if it happens. It could also turn out that Crosshair is the only one of the Bad Batch with a working inhibitor chip, which would completely change the complexion of the show. Instead of being a show just about surviving, it could be about trying to free their brother. Considering they meet with Captain Rex, they would find out about the chip. They would then be motivated to find Crosshair and free him from his mental prison. What would be even more tragic is if they were successful in removing his chip, and he still decides to remain loyal to the Empire, then continues to hunt them in Season 2. It is also possible that the Bad Batch wasn't even around a Jedi for Order 66. Tarkin testing them could be just a precaution he takes after finding out how difficult it is to control them. The Empire is all about following orders, and has no place for soldiers who aren't 100% compliant. He would have to weigh his options. The Bad Batch are elite and can be of great use to the Empire. However, they could also be dangerous if they can't be controlled. At some point, Tarkin could figure out that only one of them was worth the risk of keeping alive. That, of course, being Crosshair. In this scenario, I think Tarkin would also test his loyalty to the Empire by commanding him to kill his brothers. I expect the scene where he betrays them and they find out to be emotional and show the audience that this isn't just a kid's show. Whatever happens, I do think that this show will have some twists and turns that we don't expect. After the failure that was Resistance, Lucasfilm knows it needs an animated show that is kid-friendly, while also a little more complex for the adults. The Clone Wars from Season 3 on balance that perfectly. 3 of the best stories in the Clone Wars, The Wrong Jedi, the Umbara arc, and the episode of Slick being a traitor really focused on questions of loyalty and honor. I think the Bad Batch will have those themes at the heart of the series. What do you think? Will Crosshair betray Clone Force 99 and join the Empire? Would that make the story more interesting? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like. make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, may the Force be with you.